have to stand out for something. You have to know, she talked about you didn't go into detail about your unique value proposition, but it's extremely important that you understand what that is for you and what makes that clear. And I loved that you said that you start them all by helping them to see, to really clear on their core values and natural services that they're providing, right? And how that shows up for people. So,
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah,
thank you so much. It's been awesome having you here on the show.
Thank you, Michelle. My pleasure.
Yeah, very good. So, guys, be sure you go visit Carol Ann's website, thesizzlesystem.com. Look her up on social media as well. I saw that you can like her page from her website, so be sure you get connected with her in every way that you can and get confident in you being out there in the marketplace. So, thank you, Carol Ann, again. And, guys, we will be back after this message break.
Listen to The Legal Eagle and The Coach each Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. on Tough Talk Radio Network. Leading local and national experts in business will share their keys to success so that our listening audience can be educated and entertained along the way to becoming all they can be. So whether you're new to business or highly experienced, The Legal Eagle and The Coach with hosts David Alterburn and Brian Kaiser is a great radio program for you. For more information, go to legaleagleandthecoachradio.com.
Live at Choice, where your imagination becomes your reality. If you can imagine it, it's possible. If you can believe it, it's yours. We get it. You're done with the way it is now. You're finished with all the frustration around why you feel stuck and your life isn't working. Imagine what your life would be like if you could have all the answers and see new possibilities. We at Live at Choice choose to make a difference. Live at Choice has developed a proven process and a series of questions that lead participants to the answers they seek, gaining new understanding and self-awareness for both your personal and professional life. If you're ready to get to the life you want, contact us today. Visit liveatchoice.com to get started.
Attention entrepreneurs, it's time to get real. Real about who you are, where you want to be, and what you're willing to do to get there. To make the leap from just getting by to making real money and making a real difference in this world takes a plan and certain skills. If you are serious about building a business that makes a difference in this world, join Michele Scism at her Legacy Live event in Houston, Texas, September 10th through the 12th. Learn more at legacyliveevent.com. We will see you there.
Well, I have a super surprise for you guys. Our second guest had a little emergency and isn't able to join us, so Carol Ann stuck around. Carol Ann, are you still there?
Yep.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, we will continue the conversation because I probably have 100 questions I could ask you. So thank you, first of all, for sticking around and finishing the show out with us. And so I wanted to go back to something you said earlier. I love the part where you're saying zig when everyone zags, right? So that's all about learning how to toot their own horn and have their strategic story in place and all that. I really want to spend a little time there because one of the last questions I asked you is that whole, what's the biggest issue, and it's standing out, how to learn how to stand out from the crowd. But I think that getting comfortable with tooting their own horn is a big problem, stops them from even knowing how to stand out, right, or being able to stand out once they figure it out. So why don't we just have a little conversation around that and what you would – so we have an audience full of entrepreneurs, mostly solopreneurs, and what would you say to them if you were just meeting them for the first time about this whole topic?
Well, I would relate to them by telling them my own story and how the Sizzle system came about. It really grew out of my need to play small. Because I was a creative entrepreneur, I was always behind the computer monitor making other people look good. And I was perfectly fine with that. But then I got to the point where I was thinking, when is it going to be my turn? And so I kind of made the shift to really start thinking that, you really have to get over your fears. Other people are doing it. Why can't you? And so you have to do a self-inventory, so to speak, really figure out what is it that you do that nobody else does. Because in personal branding, the way I see it is that when you have a clearly defined personal brand, you're not going to have any competition because nobody does what you do the way you do it. So you have to focus on that.
Yeah, do you hear them say often, but everybody knows how to do what I do?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I say, no, they don't. They do not.
So yeah, so talk to me about that, because I do think, I personally, I hear it all the time from entrepreneurs as well. That's why I brought that up. So, let's defunk the whole everyone knows how to do what I do conversation.
Okay. Well, they might know how to do things that are similar to what you do, but they don't do them exactly the same way. There's service delivery, there's your personality. Certain people are going to resonate with you over the next person who does something similar. Your messaging is going to be different. Your look. There are going to be areas where your experience and your expertise just set you apart automatically, even if somebody claims to do something exactly like you do it.
Mhm. I agree. And the other thing I think that people really need to see is that so many times, because what they do comes so easy to them, they don't see it as unique.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And go ahead. Go ahead.
And that's why you hire a coach, right? Because a coach is going to really focus in on your brilliance.
That's exactly right. It's why coaches have coaches. Because we can't see our own brilliance, right? So we can see other people's brilliance, but we can't
really
see our own.
We really take ourselves for granted because it's easy for us to do.
Yes.
Our zone of genius comes easy, so.
Yeah, it's just not a true statement. So are there thousands and thousands of people out there that do branding? Absolutely. But do they do it like you? No. Do they have your background and history? No. Right? And so those things make you unique in your approach to how to do things. Other branding specialists might be looking at, identifying who your dream client is, but they don't probably do it from your direction. And so for anyone else listening to the call, same thought process is to help you figure out what it is that's unique about you, is how does your experience and history play into that. So very cool. I had a feeling you would have an opinion about that one. So let's talk a little bit about helping them get clear on their core values. How do you approach core values?
How do I what? Excuse me?
Approach core values in that whole conversation.
Oh, I have a whole process. I have checklists and everything else, and they, figure out all their core values, and then they narrow them down into like 5 different categories. And the way I do it is I have them separate them into their professional core values and their personal core values. Okay.
Tell me what the difference is.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, professional and personal have a difference, but.
Yeah, it's a whole process, but the way I see it is that your business supports your life. Your life doesn't support business. Mm-hmm. So when you, as a professional, you come up with the core values that are important to you in your business, and that's what you base your service delivery on and your unique value proposition. Your life values are what you want, what's important to you in your life to have.
Right.
And I I'm very big on mindset, of course, and working from the inside out. So I like my clients to come up with affirmations of the things that they want in their life, and that's going to help them, guide them in their business as well, to help serve others. And so stay in alignment with, you know, what they want to do, what feels good and what feels right with them.
Right. We hear, you know, core values has kind of become this buzz term. It looks to me over the last probably, and it may have been longer, but it's really been on my radar for 3 to 4 years now. And so, you know, I mean, there are times, I know there are people that are listening to this that are like, okay, great, but like really tell them how they determine what their core value is and that they're not just stealing it because they heard that somebody else has it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example because when I was running Big Eye Media, I did a lot of graphic design, and I really I prided myself on my quick turnaround, and I'm an editor, and that's probably what I'm best at. I don't normally tell people that, but I'm a pretty good editor. So my core values, and this goes back to day one, I operated my business on efficiency and proficiency. And when I rebranded, so those were just 2. I mean, I had 5. The others were creativity, quality, and persistence. And your core values don't change, but some take precedence at other times in your life. So when I rebranded, you know, efficiency and proficiency weren't so important to what I was doing. So now I had to reevaluate myself again. What is really important to me? What do I bring to my clients now that's based on who I am? And my biggest core value, the thing that's most important to me right now at this age, this stage in my life, is freedom. So that's at the back of my mind. Every time I work with a coaching client, I see how she can set herself free by having a business that really is in alignment with her and frees up her time and frees her up to do what she really wants to do. So
very interesting that you said that, because I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago for a team training, and it was a training with my coach, but it was on the topic of team. And so we were going around the room, and we were talking about, we were actually headed to a conversation about core values. So we were just talking about what do you want, what do you want, what do you want? And so everybody's saying what they want and using different words. And at the end she said, so really, what does that mean? And she points at one person, and he says freedom. And she says, and what does yours mean? And they go freedom. And, like, there were probably 20 businesses represented in the room at that point. I would say 15 of them thing was freedom. So that's a huge, huge conversation when people get it, that really that's what their value is. They're looking for that. And like you said, what I like what you just said was that it's not just your freedom, but you see it for your clients.
Yeah.
Right? In what you're doing.
Yep. Yes.
So very, very important. Awesome. Well, I love that. And so you feel like we set these core values, but we need to revisit them every once in a while because we're growing, things are changing, right? Do you feel like maybe they adjust slightly?
Absolutely, absolutely. And your personal brand is always evolving.
Yeah.
Always. So you're always reevaluating. And then, you know, you might do a total rebrand like I did and make a big shift, but it's not like you're really drawing on anything new. You're drawing on what was there all along. So certain things just come to the forefront in different times of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, because personal branding really is based on consistency. I mean, you have to be consistent for people to get you, right? It's
right.
So I always operate on the 3-year rule. I try to stick with one thing for at least 3 years before I start to change.
Good for you.